Hey, what's up everybody? Coach Kyle here. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for future content. Look back at old videos, there's a ton of them. And if you find this video especially helpful or interesting, please share it. Today, I've got my knife. That means it's unboxing day. Here, I've got some lockdown insoles, and they got a hold of me on Twitter, and it's an insole designed, I'm looking at their website, lockdowninsoles.com, and it's an insole designed specifically to prevent jammed toes, swollen, painful toes, bruised, blackens toenails. It's an insole, and most insoles are pretty useless. This one from Skora is an Ortholite. Ortholite's good insoles as far as insoles go. These from Skora have little bumps on them every half inch or so, and they're comfortable, but it's nothing. Like I take them out of half of my Skoras. Many shoes have stitching under the insole, and the insole is kind of there to just protect your foot from the stitching. So, and unlike most insoles, I don't believe these are, they're not supportive or motion control or anything. Looking at the website quick. So the primary thing with these insoles is that they have, let me go back to the front page, and I quote, thousands of soft, grippy nodules that lock down your feet and stop foot or heel slippage inside the shoes. So they say with lockdown insoles, you can stop over tightening your laces, wearing extra pairs of socks, or buying and trying many different shoes in search of that perfect fit to protect your feet and toes. A huge advantage in sports that require quick stops and starts such as basketball, football, tennis, soccer, running, lacrosse. For running specifically, I imagine these would be really great for a pair of trail shoes where you might be, when running on technical surface, pivoting, stopping, braking, especially with like downhill races. If you've ever experienced or have problems with like blisters or your feet moving and causing like toenail problems because your feet are moving inside your shoe, that's where these come in. They're designed to kind of prevent that. So let's open them up. I found this knife jammed into a tree at a campground. It's like a $50 knife. It had been there for a while. Lockdown insoles, ultimate grip for your feet and shoes. So, and I wear neutral shoes. I don't need any motion control or any support or anything. So I like that these are they're not pronation control type insoles. They're pretty heavy. Like they're noticeably heavier. But if they make your shoes more comfortable, then it's always going to be the good choice. Instructions. There are instructions. You select your size range, I think. Yep, 9.5 to 10.5 men's. And you can remove the insoles, insert lockdown insoles, and they have instructions to kind of trim. So I believe what you do is you put your old insole on top of this one, and then you trim this one if they're too big. Or no, if these are too big, yes. Insert feet without rubbing against lockdown insoles. To avoid getting stuck on the lockdown insoles, loosen your laces as much as possible with your. So this says that you put them in. So you loosen your laces. So you basically loosen the laces as much as possible. That way you slide the foot in above the insole rather than sliding it in along the top of the insole, because they suggest you might not be able to slide your foot in over the insole because the grip is so strong. So we'll see. But these are the shoes I'm going to put them in. These are my racing flats, and they're a tiny bit too big. These are not production Skora Tempos. They don't have an insole, and they're thinner up top, so they're a little larger than the production insoles. That also means they're lighter, but and they have a different outsole. But so these are my racing flats, and they're just a tiny bit too big, and I often get a little bit of blister in the arch here. So I'm going to put them in here. Ideally, that makes them fit, prevents the blister. And one problem that you've maybe experienced with racing is that when you're running faster, your foot might slip inside your shoes that otherwise are comfortable while running at a more habitual, easy pace. But also during like events with technical fast downhills or a long downhill course on pavement, for example, you might want something like these. So let's take a look at these more closely. Important, read step 3, how to insert your feet properly. It's the most important step. So it's pretty, like, doing this, like, it's grippy. Like, I could totally, it's weird. They're super flexible. The heel is slightly higher. Actually, barely. It's a cup, so I can't actually, calipers. Okay, so right here we are at about 11 or 12. Back here we are at about 17. So maybe it's a few millimeters taller back here, but not much, like 4 to 6 maybe. So I'm excited to try these. They seem like they're of a good quality. Zorbothane. Sounds cool. We've got 3 layers plus this heel, which might be a different material. I think it is. So yeah, let's install them. Okay, so we've got shoes. I'm missing an insole. Okay, so we've got shoes, insoles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the insole out of these production Tempos and cut them for size. So I typically wear 9s and Skoras, 10 maybe, and Nikes. So as you can see, they're a little large. So I'm just going to cut that. This is scary, cutting these insoles, but I'll go a little wide, and yeah, I definitely needed it right here. So I'll go a little wide. Gotta get that length. All right. I'm scared. Here we go.
Actually, I'm gonna draw on them. Nothing doing that idea. Actually, I'm gonna draw. There. That's you. Okay. I'm gonna cut it a little on the outside. It's not gonna be super pretty, but doesn't really matter. Okay. Alright. The reason
it comes like this is because even like size 9 in every brand is slightly different. So it would be impossible. Like they would have to make a size for every. They'd have to make one, cutout for every possible size, and then even then you would have to, ideal situation, you'd have to order 3. Like let's say this is a 9, I'd have to order an 8.5, 9, 9.5. and then use the pair that fits, and then send the other 2 back. But then those would have to be repackaged and everything with the warehouse. I don't even think they have a warehouse. I think there's a small enough company where they just probably package all this themselves, but I don't know. Look, it was handwritten. The address was on there. Gotta get it in there. Almost. Got a little bit of room up front still. Maybe if I get the back in, it'll move forward. Yeah. Okay. One concern is that these could make the shoes too small because the insole, this new insole is thicker than the old one. Okay, they're in. We're good. Whew. Okay, update on the insoles. So I had to do some shoe modification, get some new laces in the shoes, but yeah, they're great. Super comfortable. You can tell that without question, they keep the foot more secure inside the shoe. No doubt. You notice it because one thing they stress very strongly is that you can't just slide your foot in the shoe. You have to really unlace your laces because you can't just like slide your foot in along the sole because there's too much. The friction is too strong and you wouldn't be able to put your foot in. That also means it does the job. They're noticeably heavier than the normal lace. Is that bad? Is that good? Not sure. For a racing flat type shoe, if you want the lightest shoe possible, it would be noticeable if you put this in a real light racing flat. But in this, it's not really that big of a deal. And if it helps you run better because you don't get blisters, toenail issues, your foot moves around less in the shoe, if it makes you faster that way, it could offset the extra weight in the shoe. If they made a light one, a super light one, like thinner, like the one I took out of this, like if they made one this thin, but with that super rough, I don't know what the word is, upper that held the foot in place, that would be awesome. But yeah, I like it. If you have any issues with your feet moving around inside a pair of shoes, definitely check them out. No question, like it does the job and it does it well. So I like them. I'll recommend them. Link below to check them out. And so kudos to them. And yeah. So as always, you keep running, I'll keep coaching.